You're watching the AM show. If you've just joined us, well, you've missed our main news bulletin, but we've got the newspapers to catch up. And we touch base with Roland Walker, who is in Parliament, covering for us the budget reading later on this morning. But we'll have conversations in Parliament ahead of that budget reading, many angles to this budget, 2018 budget reading. But let's do the newspapers now. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper, and on the front page of the Graphic, manual clearance persists at Tema Port. And the reason this headline is the fact that, you know, we have paperless, so really nobody's expecting any manual workings at the ports, but apparently we do. That story is on page 74. Also on the front page of the Graphic, President opens the Octagon. Is an ultra modern facility. Is sitting right in the heart of the capital. Government aims at 6.8% growth in 2018. Special prosecutor bill passed. Now let's get to 74. I think a bit of the port story on page 74 in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Okay. And then we'll do some other stories in the Graphic as well before we turn our attention to the Ghanaian Times. So manual cargo clearance still exists at the Tema Port despite the introduction of the paperless initiative at the ports. The introduction of the automation process was to ensure a seamless process, but the continued use of paper in many transactions has seen importers and agents questioning the sustainability of the project. But it's like a lot of other things that we take on, especially with our institutions, and we are not able to sustain. We'll see if this will be addressed. This story about government aiming at a 6.8% growth in 2018 ahead of the budget reading in page 18. It says, President Akufo-Addo has said his government is steadily on course to fulfill all the promises he made to Ghanaians. And the president said, contrary to the propaganda by the opposition that he sweet-talked people into voting him and his government into power, he meant every single promise he made to Ghanaians. And according to the president, the actions of the government within the first 11 months of his administration were ample proof that his government would never take Ghanaians for granted. So details of the president's speech and the expectations of this budget reading all in the paper today. Perhaps we can just do a bit about the Octagon just before we turn our attention to the back page. So page 63 actually see pictures of the president as he inaugurated the new facility. It's called the Octagon. It's a multi-purpose office complex. It was inaugurated by President Akufo-Addo yesterday. The facility, which is a flagship project of Dream Realty, an estate development company, is one of the high-rise buildings with sophisticated modern architectural designs. If you're familiar with where this building is located, then you will know that we've come very far as a country, totally transformed, and you can check it out. Back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, GIPC partners SADA to transform authority into investment hub, and we're told they signed a memorandum of understanding. Details of that in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's do the Ghanaian Times. Front page of the Times, President opens the Octagon. So that same story in the Graphic also making its way in the Ghanaian Times of today. Farmer jailed 20 years for murdering rival. Apollonia City Housing Project launched. And the big one, 2018 budget, expectant Ghanaians await. So in the Times, you can read what the expectations of some Ghanaians as they spoke to them. Self-styled lecturer remanded for 79,550 Ghana cedis fraud. Is a Kumasi Circuit Court is remanded Michael Asante, who is a 34-year-old self-styled law lecturer, for allegedly duping some people of various sums of money. GSA, that's the Ghana Standards Authority, is also moving to check influx of substandard electrical cables. Details of that. But let's do page 3, where there's a story of a farmer who's been jailed for murdering his rival. The secondee High Court has sentenced Shadrach Entry, a 32-year-old farmer, to 20 years in prison with hard labor for killing his rival Kweku Bedu, 45, at Inframa Chrome near Bibiani in the Western region, and that was back in May 2013. So justice is now finally being served, if you like. Details of that, including the self-styled lecturer who's been remanded for 79,550 Ghana cedis fraud. Court orders restoration of Takrady Gold Ghana lease. Many more stories in the paper, but on the back page of the Times, there's this same story that made its way on the back page of the Graphic, finding its way on the back page of the Times as well. The GIPC SADA signing an MOU on investments. And Ghana unlikely to achieve a 10 on mortality target. Why? Details of that on the back page of the Times. Let's do the Daily Guide. So, front page of the Daily Guide newspaper, I suffered to be president, Nana admits. Yeah, we all know he's been through a lot. Special prosecutor bill passed, budget to cut CEOs' salaries. Really? Okay. Napo Jab's ex-minister, she's a disgrace. Simply, that's how he puts it. But where is this coming from? Details of that, page 3. And then we'll come to budgets to cut CEOs' salaries. But first, let's do the Napo story. It says Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh yesterday lambasted his predecessor, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, describing her as an embarrassment and disgrace for piling up debts for the ministry. And according to the current Minister of Education, quote, her 4-year tenure under John Mahama was an embarrassment. Dr. Opoku Prempeh, popularly called Napo, was livid about the conduct of the former minister. He observed that Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman starved basic schools of consumables like chalk. And he was speaking on Ekosi saying on Asempa FM yesterday. So all the details and the jabbing in the paper this morning. Interesting. Hopefully we'll get some kind of response from the former minister. But information reaching Daily Guide indicates that the 2018 budget of the government, which is to be presented by the finance minister today, will suggest a cut in the fat salaries and allowances of chief executives of state-owned enterprises. According to sources, the budgets, which will focus on stabilizing the economy while facilitating the creation of jobs, enhancing education and boosting a private sector-led economy, will enable a plowback of the slashed salaries. According to reports, the Finance Ministry would ensure disciplined spending by reducing fiscal deficit to about 4.5% of the gross domestic product in 2018. Daily Guide, definitely very close to the finance minister, so I'm going to take everything that they are writing with regards to this very seriously. But I'm interested particularly in the slashing of the salaries of CEOs. What do you think about this? And how much cuts? Because sometimes when you hear how much they are taking, Charlie, it can take care of you for like 2 years continuous. Somebody's salary, month's salary. Okay, so yeah, let's see if we can find anything interesting in the center spread. This is Roland's page. I'm dedicating it to Roland Walker. On the center spread, Samini Shatawale start new feud. Really? Well, you know, these guys live on these feuds. Without the feud, there won't be any industry really. So it's good. So dancehall artists Samini and Shatawale at each other's throats again, but this time not over musical supremacy. It is about a visit to President Akufo-Addo. Really? And Shatta, according to KasapaFMOnline.com, pop fan at Samini, claiming his recent tweets directed at President Akufo-Addo, asking him for an invitation to the Flagstaff House, is a joke. Samini returned Shatta's fire by calling him an empty barrel. Empty barrel will always be noisy with the smallest stick hits. Samini posted on Twitter Tuesday morning. He's also asked Wale to be thankful for his current success after a 10-year absence from the mainstream industry and also serve as content. Listen, I love Samini. I love Samini. But right now, I think Shatta getting an audience with the president, guy, he's done all. He's done all. And if we want to rate the two, Charlie, Shatta is sitting on. So, but you know, Samini, you need this kind of feud. What are you working on currently? Is there anything? Yeah, you need this to make noise about your own project. So we kind of understand. Davido beats Wizkid to win Best African Acts. I have no competition in Ghana. Guess who is saying that in the paper? Pokelo sizzles in yellow with luxury car. So details of some of the gossip stuff in the center spread of the Daily Guide newspaper. But let's do the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder says, to tax or not to tax mobile money transactions. Telcos bag 1 billion Ghana cedis in 9 months from charges slapped on mobile money users. VIP cut sought for new $30 million cement factory. Another headline on the front page of the paper. Extend blanket protection to all women, according to the president. Cedi at 8-month low as corporate dollar demand surges. Over $4.1 billion FDI is recorded in 9 months, according to Yofi Grant. So details of all these front page headlines in the paper. Let's do the Daily Dispatch, and then we'll come to the Business and Financial Times. But I encourage you to also send me messages if there's anything you've heard on the show that you want to comment on, or if there's anything you want me to know, any expectations of this 2018 budget reading, please send it to me via regular SMS and also WhatsApp. Let's do the Daily Dispatch. Amwako advises Ekufuado on vigilantism. Provide jobs for lawless youth, or else, I guess, the lawlessness will continue. But you can read the details of that. Ex-President Kufuor launches Ajua Yeboah Afari's latest book. 70% of all diabetes cases are diagnosed only after death. That's sad. Yesterday was observed at World Diabetes Day. All right, that's it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Let's end it all with, in terms of the papers, with the Business and Financial Times. So front page of the BNFT Budget Watch, 25% power tariff cuts would be a good start, according to AGI. That's the Association of Ghana Industries. They say although they are waiting to see whether the expected power tariff reduction will be in respect of levies or cumulative tariffs, players in the industry or in the industrial sector have said a 25% reduction, as Vice President Bawumia has hinted, would be most welcome, at least for a start. So details of what the AGI has been saying in the paper today. Tamale International Airport, new terminal building to drive traffic. Castlegate gets $7 million to deepen operations, and they couldn't put it in a better way. Budget day, Oforiata to turn attention to growth. Ghana's power tariff considered relatively high. Ghana's industry is currently paying in excess of 21 cents per kilowatts. Yeah. All right, so details of all of those in the paper back page of the Business and Financial Times. Other headlines as well, including 21st Century Etiquette School for Girls opens in Accra. I think this will be interesting to read and also to participate. Okay, now let's do online. We will start from home, myjoyonline.com, but I've got some of your messages, so I'll share a few. This one says, the budget today will give hope to the youth of Ghana and businessmen. The more you address the concerns of the youth and businessmen to solve all the problems of the nation. Okay, so Alhaji Short Zion in what talking about the budget today. This one says, good morning. Well, good morning to you. My name is Odeneho Kin from Techiman. I hope good news in this budget. Nana save Ghana. All right, thanks for your message. This one says, okay, so it's Al Hassan. Al Hassan One Wama in Wa says, good morning to you and your viewers. We're certain that the budget that will be read today in Parliament will be the best budget ever read in the history of Ghana. Ayo, we hear you. You are expecting the Upper West Region roads, the One East roads. Okay, maybe I should just read. Oh, please don't call me. When you call, you just disrupt the reading of the message. It will touch all the key sectors in the economy, especially agric, which declined during Mills Mahama's regime, and the poor nature of roads in the Upper West region, especially the Wa East roads. But do you work in the finance ministry? Because you seem to know exactly what is going to be read today. All right, this one also says, and please keep the messages short, so it will be good to read, and then we can read a lot more when it's short. So let's see. This one from Masawudu in Bantama. Okay, I can't read you're using very strong language, and when you do that, I won't be able to read your message. This one says, I work at GN Bank. Our conditions are very bad. Those holding HND are taking 500 cedis, whilst degree guys are taking 600 cedis. Okay, so this is something that we can follow up for you. Thank you for the message that you've sent to us. Maybe one more. This one. Oh, Nuruddin Kanazuro from Boko. Thank you for the message that you've sent to me. Really appreciate it. Let's do myjoyonline.com now. Argentine journalist on Messi, Dybala conundrum, tactical issues. Okay, Dybala. I don't know Dybala. I beg. You can read you watch the video if you're interested. It is on myjoyonline.com. But basically, Nigeria beat Argentina 4-2. We can't say same about Ghana. So let's move on, please. Okay, so review forecast of 2018 budget to be presented today. It will be a major test of the acclaimed prowess of government's economic management team. Special prosecutor could wait till 2019 if Parliament misses 2017 passage. Well, they passed the bill yesterday. Fights vigilantism by providing jobs for lawless youth. Amakutufo tells Kofu Addo, amongst many other stories on myjoyonline.com today. Education Minister cuts. There was a headline right there. Education Minister cuts predecessor to size, says she was an embarrassment. So Napo speaking on Ekosi saying on Asempa FM and giving it to Jane Nana Opoku-Agyemang, professor, yesterday. Details of that on myjoyonline.com, and I think the Daily Guide also picked on that issue as well. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do CTFM Online. 2018 budget today, more jobs, tax reforms. Oforiata will present a Ahochire budget, minority MPs. So they are not even waiting for the budget to be read to see which angle it goes to give it a name. They already have a name. They call it Ahochire budgets. So GH budgets, be moderate in your expectations, buckling to Ghanaians. Office of the Special Prosecutor Bill finally passed. Okay, so that's it for CTFM Online. Oh, and Inus Afuseni, who also spoke to us. The angle on CTFM Online says Special Prosecutor's Office open to abuse, attributed to Inus Afuseni. All right, now let's do the BBC. We're interested very much in what's happening in Zimbabwe because we're told that the military read a statement after seizing state television. We want to listen to what the Major General, the man in charge of the army, has been saying in this video as he took over the nation's television station, really. Okay, so we're not quite ready with that, but Zimbabwe's military has read out a statement after taking over the national broadcaster, saying it has taken action to target criminals. They say it is not a military coup. Robert Mugabe is still president of Zimbabwe, but the military is in charge. So what's happening really in Zimbabwe? Now, if you read further, some of the things with the story says there was heavy gunfire and artillery were heard in northern suburbs of the capital, Harare, early on Wednesday. And Zimbabwe's envoy to South Africa, Isaac Moyo, earlier dismissed talk of a coup, saying the government was intact. But if the government is intact, then why is the military in charge, really? And today, monitoring other communication coming from elsewhere, there are, for instance, the U.S. Embassy and other embassies issuing alerts to their citizens, asking them to stay indoors. So there's a lot of things happening in Zimbabwe. We wait to see the military also made some arrests as well. And details of that suggest that those who were arrested mainly were supporters of the wife of the president of Zimbabwe. So Mrs. Mugabe, persons very close to her, arrested in this by the military, I guess. And some analysts are also saying because of the possible implications, that's why the military is cautious in terms of the choice of words, insisting that this is not a coup. But if this is not a coup, this is the style it takes, really. If this is not a coup, then what is this? So we'll be talking about what's happening in Zimbabwe as well. Okay, other stories on the page. My boss threatened me with acid. The Tanzanian women who travel to Oman to become maids and get trapped with abusive employers. Details of that. There's a Nigerian girl killed for body parts. Cameroon troops seize farming tools. EU migrants deal with Libya inhumane. Okay, so details of that. Buhari visits pro-Biafra hotline, and they say this is the first time, I think, in 2 years since he became president that he's made this visit. Nigeria's leaders, and he's ignored threats, you know, warning him not to go, but yes, he has. All right, so other stories on the page, if you find it interesting, that you can read. We've got detailed sport coming your way today. Asari Bediako is doing sport for us today, but we've also put a post on Facebook that you can also comment on. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will later today present the budget for the 2018 fiscal year. What are your expectations? So hashtag budget 2018. Japan says Japan is in Japan Joabehene. Asempa budget is here again. Expectations are that it will create more jobs and also support the private sector, and also go more into manufacturing of our local goods, support agriculture. Enoch says, what I'm expecting is special prosecutor for vigilante, land guards, Delta Forces and Invisible Forces group. Salifu says it should be saturated with facts. We need better conditions in Ghana. Ja Guide. Joe says my expectations are introduction of more taxes or increase of taxes, especially mobile money. Okay, this is the first time I'm seeing somebody call for taxes. This one's Abanga says zero expectation because the Asempa budget failed miserably, no impact on the economy. Abusa says the same thing. Okay. So let's see. One more. Christian Alan Agri says, good news. Ghana for are eager to listen. So get your comments coming through. You can go to Facebook and let us know what you expect from this particular budget. But keep the tone. Let the language be clean. We're not fighting. It is not a fight. We are all in Ghana, whether you like it or not. The finance minister will be in parliament to present the budgets. So let's keep the tone, you know, yeah, friendly and in a way that we can read. So send your comments. You can do Facebook, you can do WhatsApp, you can send us regular SMS messages as well. I will be heading to Parliament as well. We'll bring you a lot more conversations from Parliament House, from where Roland Walker is already pitching camp. You're watching JoyNews. This is the AM show.